We continue. We continue. Oh, yeah! Last time they got brought in for questioning, right? So we'll see what happens here. The cops were smart enough to separate us during questioning. Hello, Hamburger! Oishi didn't come to talk to me. His aim was Satoshi-kun and nobody else. I only did this to spite Dianea. I see, okay. Won't be here for long. Fair. How was your day, though? I got a young cop who just talked about ordinary things. He must have been trying to ease me into the interrogation. When I realized this, the clumsy way he spoke began to frustrate me. Is Satoshi-kun alright? I didn't think Oishi really bought my testimony. I feel like everybody is now against Dianea for the first thing. For getting first. You know? Like, it feels like it's if Dianea gets it first, it's like, if you lose, if anyone else gets it, then you win. I didn't think Oishi really bought my testimony. He must have been trying to get Satoshi-kun to confess in spite of that. All I could do was pray that he'd keep quiet. Phone on the desk rang, and the cop picked it up.
Hi, Kumagai desu. Hi? ああ、そうですか。わかりました。すぐに。
He hung up and told me somebody had come to retrieve me. Looked like Satoshi-kun had to stay. Were they going to continue the interrogation just because he had nobody to pick him up? Although, maybe I should be worrying about myself. The hag had probably heard about me by now since I revealed my real identity to the police. I couldn't hide any longer. I was going to receive some sort of punishment. I had no idea what she'd end up doing to me. The degree of punishment for a traitor is always severe in the world of the Sonozakis. The punishment must be carried out. If it's to protect the family's reputation, it's carried out no matter what. Maybe I should kiss my pinky finger while I still can. I asked the young cop just in case.
ねえねえ、アメリカなんかでよく死刑囚が死刑廃止の州で捕まると引き渡さないでくれるっていう話あるじゃないですか。
Hey Ruben, a condemned criminal gets arrested in a state which has banned capital punishment. They refuse to surrender him to the state prosecuting him if that state hasn't banned it. Okay, why? Can you check DMs and watch it on stream, please? What is this? Okay, what is this? Hello, Z. Okay. How's everyone doing? Okay. Thank you, Dianea, for this amazing song. What even is this? Like, you really are, how do you say, starved for Higurashi content. This is great. Thanks, TikTok, yep. If this is the stuff that you get. Or like the community, I guess. I have so much brain rot. I see. I from what you've sent me as well, it's what it seems like. Rika stands. Hope everyone's doing good today. Did you know that in America... Okay, yes. Alright, okay, I understand that now.
Hmm?
Maybe it was too difficult for him. He just looked puzzled. A glossy black car was waiting for me in front of the police station. A few men from my dad's office bowed to me.
シオンさん、ご無沙汰しております。
葛西は
Kasai had been helping me ever since my escape from the school. They wouldn't allow him to walk
お
free.
姉はどうしてるの？何か言ってる？
私たちはシオンさんを本家へお連れしろとしか言われていませんので、詳しくは本家でお尋ねになってください。
But I don't understand how her just revealing herself to the police makes it so that everyone now knows in the Sonozaki family. I'm currently lifting a couch with the ball of my foot, so that's fun. Why are you doing that, Hamburger? Yeah, I'm doing well as well. Nice to hear, Ruben. After saying that, he escorted me into the car. Hello, Minecraft Slime 2. How are you? A man sat on either side of me. Obviously, they didn't want me to escape. Thinking of Satoshi-kun, I looked back at the police station. Hold on tight, Satoshi-kun. I'll grin and bear it too. The car started off roughly. I don't know, strength training? What are you training with that exercise? You're ironing your clothes right now. For, what are you ironing it for? Just for tomorrow? Or for anything in particular? Also, Steel Ballroom dropped today. Oh, yeah, it was dropping. Like, all of it? Or did they, like, split it up into parts? Or into, yeah. Sorry, into, like they did the first half and then the second half of Stone Ocean? Or how'd they do it? First episode, okay. First episode released, okay. Eat for tears tomorrow, I'm excited, nice! Were you fasting, Z? Except when Mion and I were really small, oblivious of what the Sonozaki name meant for us. It's weekly, not in batches. Okay, that is good. That's good. Because I remember it was very annoying for Stone Ocean. Because that's the reason why I actually didn't end up watching Stone Ocean. It's really weird. I was like, okay, I watched the first episode, but it doesn't matter because there's only the first half is out. So it's like, I want to wait. And then I waited, and then it finally came out, and then I just never had time for it. Thank you, Minecraft Slime, for that amazing input. The second time. It was like 6 months. Yeah, I remember. The car parked behind the house. I'm a Muslim. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. If you were fasting. Some people can choose not to fast. Like people who are not completely devout Muslims. Traders aren't allowed through the main gates. I got out of the car. Looked like Sis would be the only person to receive me. Also, to answer your question, is flexing your calf muscles. I see. I almost spoke to her casually, but her cold gaze froze me before I could.
お久しぶりですね、シオン。
Okay, so this is like the the Mion being overtaken by the demon.
新年以外に会えるとは思いませんでした。
It gave me the chills to hear her greet me in that cold
ミ
manner.
オン姉様こそ、ご機嫌麗しゅうございます。
You were fasting. Okay.
新年以外にお顔が見れて、3問くらいの得を感じます。
Today's the last day. Nice. How does it feel to... Because I remember when I lived in... Like, what are your... Okay, what I'm trying to say. When you are fasting, right? Do you feel the need... Okay, what am I trying to say? When I was in high school, right, and I lived in a Muslim country. Thank you, Dine. Wow, for another thing. When I was in... and I lived in Qatar, right? A lot of the people, or a lot of kids who were fasting, they would always watch, like cooking videos and like, basically just look at images of food and what they'll eat. Do you do that as well? Or do you try to stay away from food as possible? Like, how do you deal with it? What is your way to like get through the day if you do have anything? Why do they do that? I don't know. I never knew that. It's something that, like, a lot of people did. Like, they would all crowd, like, if it was a class they didn't really have to do anything, they'd always crowd around a computer and then be looking at food and all that stuff. So, which I found interesting. Hello, Roach. Let's see what joke we have in store for today. I responded, trying to sound likewise.
当主は大変ご立腹ですよ。
What is a cat's favorite Mexican dish? Burritos. Wow. Another great cat joke from the divine deck of cat joke cards. Yeah, I know, right, Ruben? I know.
どう釈明されるか見ものです。
Boo, get off the stage. What do you mean, get off the stage? Okay? These are, as I said, 100 perfect cat jokes. Hilarious jokes about your feline friends, ages 8+. I tried to stay away from looking at food videos, but if food pops up, I'll be looking straight. I was like devoured off to think about hungriness. So you don't actively search it out, but if it appears, then you're just like, you just go down the rabbit hole? I had no excuse. I'd escaped from school solely because I couldn't stand it there. That was all.
シオン、来なさい。みんな待っています。
Mion escorted me, and the others followed. Oh, wait, should I do a Minecraft joke as well? Wait, let me see if I can get a Minecraft joke in as well from the amazing Minecraft joke book thing here. Okay, what do we have? A second. Let me just find one randomly. No! Okay, let's see this one. Chapter 3. Lava, drowning, and other dastardly ways to die. What did one player say to his girlfriend who fell into a volcano? I lava you. Honestly, that was probably one of the best ones so far. Balls, no. Shut up. Listen. I'm just giving probably the top quality jokes. What do you mean get off the stage? Okay, shut up. These are probably the best jokes of all time. Mion escorted me and the others followed. We went to the garden, not into the house. As we passed through the huge yard in the woods, I realized where she was taking me. When we were little, we were told never to go to these woods. I had a vague idea of what was in the back of them. I heard there was a hidden entrance to the underground torture room where they used to punish the enemies of the family. The more hideous rumors I heard about the family, the more credible those rumors seemed. What do you call a curious dungeon? Wyvern. See, we all can join in. We all can join in to this celebration of telling amazing jokes. Well, I wasn't completely certain about any of that. I never expected to see the torture room for myself. We came to a conclave clearing in the middle of the woods. I saw a metal door at the bottom of it. The door reminded me of a bomb shelter.
これが噂の地下拷問室ってやつですね。
Balls, Vern. Wow. You really have a way with words, Minecraft Slime. Oh, okay. Okay, well, same thing. It's close enough. By the way, it says dragon, not a dungeon. Yeah. It's close enough. I was supposed to hear my own voice. I was surprised when I hear my own voice. I was trembling. It made me realize that I was more scared than I thought. Nobody answered my question. The very air felt tense. According to the family rules, one of the twins must be eliminated. Was I finally going to be eliminated? I realized I'd been underestimating my punishment. I hadn't been aware of the real terror until now. I just thought I was. Beyond the steel door, the air had an intimidating smell. This really was happening to me. I shouldn't allow myself to give in to fear. I felt like saying something rude, but my lips were dry. My fingers were fidgeting. I was escorted through the narrow hallway and down a few set of stairs. There I saw another huge steel door. So this was the place. It was spacious and utterly odd-looking room. The room had two sections that looked completely different. One side looked like a lounge. There were several high-ranking members of the family council sitting on cushions there, looking expressionless. The other half was tiled, as if in a large public bath. That was already puzzling enough. And there were those things. To be honest, they had captured my attention from the moment I arrived. I noticed them even before I saw the lounge and the tiled space. I just didn't want to accept that they existed. Couldn't stand straight. I almost dropped to my knees, but I couldn't. Two young men had been holding me by the arm since I got here. There were oddly shaped things hanging from the wall. I was just refusing to recognize what they were. I knew exactly what they were called. I see. I understood that those eerily shaped objects were torture devices from hell.
だほがどの面下げて戻ってきた思うとっとと
The hag, sitting at the front of the lounge, intimidated me in a horrid voice. She kept cursing me for a little while, but she was so incensed that I could barely tell what she was saying. I knew what she was trying to say, though. The hag was willing to forgive my escape from the school. But once I revealed my identity to police, she had to step in. Since I had disobeyed the family rules, she, as the leader, was forced to punish me. Moreover, there was one thing that bothered her more than anything else. The fact that I covered for Satoshi-kun. The Hojo family had been seen as traitors to the village ever since the dam conflict. Yeah, she really got a close-up of her face there, huh? Satoshi-kun is still considered to be one of them. She couldn't accept that I was connected to him. To me, this was a bit unexpected. An escape from the school the hag had put me in. All the while, I'd believed that was what she was upset about. But in fact, she said that she was the most uncomfortable with my connection with Satoshi-kun. You can believe this? My grandma is my sister and dad. How does that work? This way, I'm getting my water bottle. Believe it. Alright, I'm back. How does your grandma become your sister and your dad? Of course, I knew that Satoshi-kun's family was persecuted for their betrayal. I didn't think that Satoshi-kun was also burdened with that responsibility. Balls. Oh, okay, yes. Of course.
サトシ君関係ないじ
How
ゃ
could
な
I
いです
not
か。
think of that one?
サトシ君の親はわかるとしても、サトシ君個人には何の責任もな。
しゃあなしいわ。
The hag interrupted me with a shout which made me cower in fear. She continued slandering the Hojus and said that Satoshi-kun was a cursed child. They said the same thing about Satoko. That really pissed me off. What did he do to deserve this? Unk. Why am I Unk now? Unless the balls are Unk. In which case that would make sense. What did he do to deserve this? What was he being blamed for? It was too late when I said that out loud. The hag looked furious. I'd obviously upset her. I decided to repeat myself to make it very clear how I felt.
鬼ババ、あんた何言ってんの？
Damn, she's really like talking back in a situation like
黙っ
this.
て聞いてれば言いたい放題。
なんばねすったら口の利き。
やかましい！しまいまで聞きなよ、鬼ババ。
I shouted loudly to silence the
だい
hag.
たいあんたはサトシ君の何を知ってるの？
Face reveal.
サトシ君のことをよく知りもしないくせに、まるで彼を害虫みたいに言い捨てて、サトシ君がどんなにいい人か私はよく知っている。彼が北条だからいけないの？バッカみたい。時代錯誤も甚だしい。園崎の私が北条のサトシ君と一緒にいたのがそんなにも不愉快なの？くったらないバッカみたい。こんな安っぽいロミジュリを自分で体験できるなんて思わなかったな。
My voice became hoarse from shouting. My face was messy with tears, even so I didn't feel like putting a stop to my emotional explosion. I was also aware that I was doing this just to overwhelm my fear. The hag was glaring at me while breathing heavily. I glared back at her as fiercely as I could. Eventually, I realized that her sticking point was my relationship with Satoshi-kun. Messy without tears. How so? How do you imagine that? She wasn't only upset that I had a mere connection with him.
そっか。ミオンがそういう告げ口をしたわけか。
It was as though Mion was wearing a mask. She didn't budge under my penetrating glare. That was what the hag was really unhappy about, the fact that I was in love with Satoshi-kun.
確かに私、自分が園崎家だとか、サトシ君が北条家だとか、そんなの全然興味ないし。認めますよ、認めます。私は北条サトシ君が好きです。彼のことが大好きです。それっていけないこと？人が人を好きになるのに何か理由が必要？
I guess it's her way to, I guess, how do you say, to cope with everything. I could see the relatives shaking their heads in turmoil. Among them I saw my mom. She must have been trying to protect me. But even she wouldn't look at me. Instead, she looked silently at the
後
floor.
ろのあんたたちも聞こえてるでしょ？私おかしいこと言ってる？あんたたちだってサトシ君をよく知れば、彼がどんなに素敵な男の子で私が好きになるのがおかしくないことがすぐにわかる。なのになんで相手の人格も知ろうとしないで一方的に。
Mion held out a hand to silence me. Then she slowly walked in my direction.
もう結構です、シオン。あなたの言い分と覚悟はよくわかりました。
Mion put her head close to mine and whispered.
シオンの覚悟はよくわかったよ。でもここまで言い切っちゃったら誰にももうかばえない。シオンがけじめをつけてみせるしかない。けじめ？なんで私がなんでそんなバカな。シオン、
Mion's face turned cold again and she calmly told
あな
me.
たの言う個人の理屈は多分正しい。でもね、 あなたも理解していると思うけど、ここはひなみ沢で、私たちは園崎家なの。御三家の末席で、今や事実上のひなみ沢の筆頭家。そしてあなたは仮にも、園崎家次期当主である園崎美音の双子の妹。それが。
Okay, so it doesn't seem that in this case that Mion is like femboy Tuno. In what way? How? Why? Where am I coming in with femboy here? Yeah. So it seems in this case, right, that Mion is still herself. It's not like before where it was like something took over her or something. Like the demon was taking over Mion at the time. But this still seems to be her in this situation. I guess that makes sense considering from what happened in the past is from Keiichi not giving the doll to Mion, but I don't know how. This is connected in any way. I interrupted her.
あんたとはこっちに帰ってからどうもそのあたりの話
What
が
do you
食
do
い合
in
わ
this
ないです
game?
ね。
I'm not. Okay, well, let's. I'm not femboy. Okay, let's do that. But yeah, it's a visual novel, so we're just reading it. We're not like actively doing anything. It's just reading it. Yeah.
大人の事情みたいなことばっか。ひなみ沢園崎家だから何？私はそんなの全然興味な。聞きなさい。
Mion interrupted me just like I did her.
シオンは今日まで沖宮で生活するにあたってどれだけの人の世話になってる？
Chills shot through my spine.
葛西さん、奥の牢屋にいる。なんで葛西が？
I knew why, of course. The moment I got caught, those who helped me were destined to meet the same fate. We were all subject to the punishment of betrayal. Maybe my punishment would be lighter than what they'd be going through. Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro must have been treated much worse than this. Everybody who helped me was falling
シ
victim.
オンがどういう目にあっても、シオン本人は覚悟があるからいいだろうけど、お世話になった葛西さんや吉郎おじさんがどうなるかまでは
But it seems like they
考えが
both
及ば
make it
な
out
い。
from what I remember. My head rapidly cooled down. My aggression was all used up. I should be able to bear whatever punishment they bring on me, but I resented the fact that I'd be putting the people who supported me
シ
at
オン、
risk.
ばっちゃんに謝ってけじめをつけてみせれば、シオン一人だけの話で全部済む。誰にも迷惑をかけない。でもミオン、私間違ったこと言った？
Keep reading the text, but that's what you have to say? That's okay.
そんなにも悪いことした？
The moment Mion learned I wasn't willing to apologize, her expression turned cold again. She turned her back to me and returned to the lounge. I talked back to the hag in a really harsh manner. You want slime for being based? I told her that I didn't do anything wrong, yet I had involved many people who I owed so much. It went without saying this was my responsibility. I was the sole person to blame, and no fault lay with them. Yes, Kasai and Yoshiro-san were blameless, just as Satoshi was. But then, as she read my mind, Mion turned around, and she gave a slight nod. It was possible that something was gonna happen to Satoshi-kun, on top of Kasai and Uncle Yoshiro.
待って、おね！
That can't happen. Satoshi-kun, I mean, nobody else should be punished. Please forgive them.
何ですか、シオン。
Tears rolled down my cheek. I no longer cared about my
ごめん
pride.
なさい。私が間違っていました。許してください、当主様。
I should have said what the hag wanted to hear, yet she still looked unsatisfied. Maybe that wasn't too surprising. I had just denounced her so badly in front of the relatives. She wouldn't forgive me so easily. Just then, Mion spoke as a successor.
ではシオン、どうやってけじめをつけるつもりです？けじめってどうすれば？
Nothing could be scarier than being told to pay up while standing next to the horde-looking torture devices. I was completely terrified. I couldn't move from trembling. Mion saw that and whispered to our grandmother. The hag nodded. Mion summoned some young minions and gave them an order. They removed one of the torture devices hanging on the wall, then set a table in front of me and put the device on top of it. Oh, she's gonna cut her pinky.
これ、爪を剥ぐための道
Oh,
具です。
fingernails.
使い方はわかります？わかるわけないでしょ。
I I shook as I stared at the tool. It looked like a giant nail clipper. Oh! That is not... Oh! Like, removing fingernails, I don't know. There's something about that that's just so... Like, obviously, a whole torture is... you can think of it being bad, but I don't know. Something about removing fingernails for me always seemed like one of the worst, like, ones to go through. I don't know. It just seems so painful. Chills ran up and down my spine when I imagined
爪
that.
1枚ずつでシオンがかけた迷惑のそれぞれのけじめとします。園崎シオン。どの指でも構いません。自らの手で3枚の爪を剥がしてみせなさい。
3. One for Kasai, one for Uncle Yoshiro, and the last for Satoshi-kun. It was a fairly reasonable number.
本当にそれで他の人は許してくれるんですか？約束して。私がちゃんと自分の爪を剥げたら他のみんなは許すと約束して。これはあなたのけじめであって取引ではありませんよ。この方法が気に入らないならやるから待ってよ。やるから。
Read what the characters say? Oh, okay. The thing is, though, like... I've always, I'm trying to think, 'cause the reason... I just find it weird, like, when you have the characters say something and then I say something after. You know? Like, I've always narrated over. Or narrated after it. Okay, so she's gonna take out her nails, I guess. I'll probably try to, like, just be summarizing things. I put the device to my little finger while shaking badly. If my fingernails were shorter, it would have been harder. The metal beak captured my little finger beautifully. Subordinates then stabilized my left hand with a different restraining tool. That seemed reasonable, but my finger would slip out if it weren't restrained like that. As the subordinates buckled up the leather straps, I realized this was really happening, and there was no escape. Somewhere in my mind, I'd been thinking that they might forgive me after that gesture alone. I shouldn't have been so naive. The emotions I'd been holding back appeared in the form of tears, kept rolling down my cheeks. It was like my feelings were being squeezed out until the very last trip. Something even more horrifying followed this. It was the silence that awaited my next action.
どうするの？
One of the subordinates pointed to the handle and told me to either squeeze or hit it. He recommended that the latter would be easier to make it quick. Nobody said anything after that. There was nothing to hear but the sound of my sweat dripping onto the floor. The onlookers were staring at me silently, waiting for me to execute my punishment. Both the hag and Mion, they were also anticipating it. I could refuse, but that meant I wouldn't be paying up. This punishment exists to offer payment in exchange for the safety of those who helped me. If I refused, they would suffer. I started breathing heavily. I knew that if I did this, the others would go free. This was, if you thought about it, quite a good deal. If it weren't me, it would just be 3 fingernails. Were Kasai, he'd have to sacrifice his little finger or something even worse. I knew that. It's my selfish desire to get away from that school. Why did Kasai have to suffer because of that? I knew that. Why did Uncle Yoshiro have to suffer just because he provided me a job? I knew that the hag and the other relatives still hated the Hojos. So I didn't know what to do to Satoshi-kun if I didn't do this. Would they bring Satoshi-kun here and tell him to do the same? Would they tell him to remove his fingernails in exchange for forgiving me? He'd do it. He sacrificed himself with no hesitation in order to save others. My sweat dripped onto the table through my nose. Without context, I mean, yeah, like, obviously. It is just her moaning into the mic, or, yeah. I do it. Yeah. It was only 3 fingernails. It might hurt a lot, but I wouldn't die. The fingernails would grow back. It wouldn't even leave a huge scar. I shouldn't be afraid. The punishment was minimal because it was me. If I refused to do this, the others would be punished much more severely. I couldn't let that happen to Kasai, Uncle Yoshiro, or Satoshi-kun. I was the only one who should be punished, so I just needed to bear the pain. I wasn't just breathing heavily anymore. I was also moaning faintly, ready to scream at any moment. That's right, make it quick. This wasn't torture, so I didn't have to prolong the moment of pain. I should do it in one swift blow. That way my pain and fear would be minimized. I raised my right arm. Quickly. The pain would be lessened if I did it in one stroke. It would be much more painful if I messed it up. I held my breath. I felt as if my body was frozen. I was choking. The chills crept up my spine. Don't be afraid, Shion. Fingernails are just a tiny fraction of the whole body, just 1 square centimeter. I could do this. I could bear this. I smacked my right hand onto the handle of the device. I sensed the noise through my body instead of through my ears. At the same time, I felt a pain like I'd never experienced before. A moment later, the pain pulsated with my heartbeat. I clenched my teeth. I felt like my teeth were cracking. I tightly shut my eyes until my eyeballs got squeezed up. The pain wouldn't fade. Rather, it swelled with my blood pressure. I felt as though it was bloating like a balloon. Timidly, I opened my eyes. I found that my little finger wasn't really drenched in blood. It was bleeding, but not much. Certainly not enough to explain how much it hurt. My fingernail was open, just like the hood of the car. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay, dude. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, why'd you have to explain it like that? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was so overwhelming. It occurred to me that I'd only done 1 out of 3. Did I have to repeat that 2 more times? Did I have to remove the nails from my ring and middle fingers as well? I looked at the hag and Mion begging for mercy, but they were just silently staring at me as if the show had only just begun. I saw no hint of mercy in their eyes. They wouldn't be changing their minds. As I said 3, it had to be 3. Thank you, Minecraft Slime. That makes things much better. You wouldn't forgive me until I removed 2 more fingernails. Oh, Shion, you literally already reasoned yourself. Mion answered, still wearing a cold look. She didn't mean that it was sufficient. What she meant was the others would have to take the remaining punishment if I didn't. I knew that. I really did know. Hello, Rissa. Oh, she's doing... I quickly moved the metal beak and set it on my ring finger. And smacked it with no hesitation. Instead of making it quick, maybe I was just rushing it out of fear. I'd messed up. The torch to a clip just the tip of my fingernail. The pain, however, was equal. I couldn't believe I'd only chipped it. Hello, Rissa. Hello, Surplus. Did I have to do it again? Oh, this is so bad. Oh my gosh, man. This girl. When she said like, oh, it was like the hood of the car, that was so bad. That was one of the worst things I've had to read in this so far. Did I have to continue removing the nail from my ring finger? That much pain again? Again?
Shion.
I couldn't bear it anymore. I started crying shamelessly. I mean, yeah, no, it doesn't matter who you are, unless you're like Teppei. You shouldn't have, no one should have to go through this. They didn't seem to hear my voice. It felt as though there was an invisible barrier between us. They showed no mercy. They were here to just witness this, ritual. So rather than sympathetic, they looked amazed by my screw-up. Mion walked up to me and whispered to my crying face. Like, someone else doing it to you, fine. You know, like, you could probably get through it. But the fact that you have to do it yourself, that makes it, like, you have to take the device out and then set it up, and then, like, while you're in pain. just a bit more. And yeah, it just really hurts. Mion shook her head and then signaled the subordinates. They came from behind me. Someone should make Della do this. Why? For what reason? They had covered my head with something like a knit cap. It was a blindfold. One of them pinned me in a Nelson hold, restricting my movement. I couldn't overpower the guy behind me. Then I felt something strange on my left hand. The other guy was doing something with the torture tool. He put the metal bead between my ring finger and its fingernail. Well, she's gonna... she didn't, Spider-Man! You know, I don't think Spider-Man is worth this, you know? My left hand was fixed in the restraint, so I couldn't put much protest anyway. But even that left hand was pressed down by his rough palms until it hurt, robbing the freedom even to tremble. They had no hesitation. Oh my gosh, the sound! I know that's the default sound they use for everything, but like, why do they have to use the same one here? It was made very clear to me how merciless people could be. Robbed of my vision, all I could do was clench my teeth against the pain assailing me. If there was anything I was thankful for, it was that he was well practiced and had ripped off both my fingernails cleanly. Pain and screaming might induce narcotic chemicals in the brain. While screaming, I started losing consciousness. Dude, that was so bad. Oh my gosh, what was that? Oh, dude, that scene was so ridiculous. Eat the nails. Yeah, now she has to make it into a stew afterwards. Hello, Indie Man. You just missed a scene. Honestly, yeah, it is good timing. I woke up. My memories were missing. I couldn't remember how I got back to my room. I held my head with both hands. My left hand was bandaged. The fingers that had their nails removed had swollen like hot dogs. Dip again now, sleepy. Okay, surplus. Thanks for stopping by. The hag had said something after the punishment, but I didn't remember any of it. I was taken to a hospital in Okinomiya. The car shook on its way, adding extra pain on top of what I already felt. Somebody gave me some aspirin. It worked just like they said on TV. But they didn't last more than 10 minutes. I swallowed the pills without water. While I was spacing out in the waiting lounge, Kasai showed up. He probably came to check if I was alright. I obviously wasn't. He must have understood that from my bandaged left arm dangling from my shoulder. Kasai, on the other hand, looked just fine. At least on the outside. I was relieved that my sacrifice had meant something. Kasai didn't say anything. I couldn't tell if he wanted to tell me something or not because he looked so emotionless.
Kasai?
なんでしょ
He paused shortly before answering. I could tell he was upset. I didn't regret revealing my true identity in order to protect Satoshi-kun, but I hadn't wanted Kasai or Uncle Yoshiro to be hurt. I had been contradicting
ヨシロ
myself.
おじさんはどうなったか知ってます？
ういいえ。したたかな方です。ご無事と思います。後で謝られた方がいいでしょう。
I wanted to ask him about Satoshi-kun too. I wondered if he was captured or harassed by the Sonozaki family because of me. But I was hesitant to ask Kasai. After all, I'd chosen Satoshi-kun over them. Was Satoshi-kun alright? I hoped he wouldn't get caught or incarcerated somewhere. I paid the hospital bill and Kasai gave me a ride home. I finally realized that somebody was knocking on my door.
シオンさん、横になり続けるのも、やはり体に毒です。
It was Kasai. He put some side dishes on the table and we started nibbling at them.
気分は落ち着かれましたか？
落ち着いたというか、
この数日間は、ずっと伏せっていたんですか？
Like, the nail's gonna grow back, but, like, it's still, like, it's so bad, just, like, having them to get removed. Ugh.
食事はされていましたか？
冷蔵庫の中の残り物を適当に
Nibbling
食
on
べ
the
てました。
glizzy fingers. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, after the initial pain subsides, it probably feels so weird to, like, feel your finger in that area. Like, the fact that it's just so soft over there, and, like, it has just not been exposed to, like, outside or anything.
あとは天井を見てるか
What even
眠
are
っ
the
ている
point
か
of
のどっちか。
fingernails? Like, what's the evolutionary reason? It had been 3 days. I'd been lying down since then. I woke up every now and then in my shallow sleep, but I didn't feel like getting up or thinking. Felt like I'd just been floating the whole time. Balls. Oh, okay. I didn't think about that one. My appetite was gone, but it came back with the smell of the food Kasai brought. I wasn't able to think of anything to talk to Kasai about, so I just ate silently.
昨日、ミオンさんから連絡がありました。シオンさんの部屋に何度か電話したけど、出なかったからということで。
The moment I heard Mion's name, I felt my wounds throb. But I didn't stop Kasai, who continued.
園崎本家としては、シオンさんがご自分でけじめをつけられたので、これで決着とする
Well,
そ
at
うで
least
す。
was it Oreo didn't get like extremely
あの
pissed.
学園には退学届が出されます。シオンさんは沖宮の学校に編入になるそうで
I
す。
mean, they're being fairly lenient
園
with it.
崎
Like
シオンの
obviously
人
they
権が
obviously they made her
認められたって
pay or
ことか。
whatever, right? But honestly, they could have done a lot worse things.
そうですね。
Okay. For real, yes, exactly. Okay, so just what's happening in this conversation? The dude walked up to her that she saved basically and was taking care of her, and they're just talking about her life in the future.
今後は園崎シオンとして生活してくださって構わないそうです。ですが、みだりにひなみ沢には近づかないこと。
You'll stay from Hinamizawa, but doesn't she still sometimes go back to Hinamizawa, right? During certain, like, points.
園崎ミオンを語らないこと。
You won't pretend to be Mion Sonozaki, but she did do that at some point. As well, with
人前
Keiichi.
にみだりに姿を現さないこと。
But she's also done that as
他にも
well.
細々とありますが、
存在を認めてやるから本家に目立つようなことは二度とするなってわけか。
But she's broken the rules that they've
そういう
asked.
ことになります。
Sure.
もちろん永続的なわけじゃありません。ほとぼりが冷めるまで当分ということです。
It's only temporary until things cool down. Okay, so things change, I guess, in
具
the
体
next
的
year.
にいつまでという期限がある
Yeah,
わけ
until
で
the
はあ
end of the
りま
year.
せん
Okay,
が、
so it does change. Never
今
mind.
年い
Okay.
っぱいくらいはこれまで通り目立たない生活を送られた方がよろしいかと思います。
私は沖宮でひっそり暮らすだけで十分です。もともとこれまでだってそうして暮らしてきたわけだし。
Well, it does seem like they leave her alone. Other than that entire thing of chapter 2. Kasai put on a sad smile. I smiled back at him likewise. Before the conversation ended, and I should ask him what I wanted to know.
サトシ君はどうなったの？
I wish that Kasai would assure me of his safety right away, but he didn't answer like
Kasai?
that.
サトシ君は無事な。
シオンさん、
Kasai put his chopsticks down.
本家から北条聡君のことは忘れろとこと。
何それ？
シオンさん、あなたと喧嘩はしたくないんで、これ以上この話はしたくありません。本家からの言葉を伝えるのみにとどめさせてもらいます。
何？その話をしたくないってのは葛西。
What details? Kasai pretended as though he didn't hear me and started eating again. I never see him get so stubborn like this. The Sonozaki family had been using the Hojo family as a scapegoat. They must have concluded that a Sonozaki shouldn't be in love with the Hojo. I didn't like that. Satoko was a friend of Mion's at school. Would it be okay if Satoshi and I were the same gender? Anyway, if I did something conspicuous again, they might do something to him for real. Just like they forced me to remove my own fingernail, the Sonozaki family wouldn't hesitate. They'd torture him if need be. Maybe if I really loved him, I should stay away. Satoshi-kun won't show up in Okinomiya, unless he rejoins the Hinamizawa fighters. I'd have to pretend to be Mion if I wanted to go to Hinamizawa. But I didn't think she'd cooperate with me. Even if she did, it'd be some time down the road. Even if they told me not to see him. I already had no means of doing that again. Oh, wait. Mion gave me his number a little while ago. What do you mean, like, it's crazy there's 4 elements? Like, I know what you mean, like, you explain the elements, but, like, why is that, like, crazy, I guess? Like, what about it, I guess? Mion gave me his number a little while ago. I could call him. Maybe ask to meet with him secretly. But if I got caught again, they wouldn't cut me any slack. Should I risk it? What the hell did I even want from Satoshi-kun?
葛西、 ちょっと一人になりたい。
Like, even though it's made up of... That's fair. That's true. That is true. I mean, like, you know, people are able to immerse themselves in the world with literally just one thing, right? If you just have the words, like, that's how, I mean, books got popular. It's because you can immerse yourself in the world from just reading the words. So it's like, you add more stuff for that as well. So it's like, you immerse yourself even more and more, which is how you, like, you know, there are a range of it. Even, like, with shows and everything, people greatly immerse themselves in the world, like... You can, like, depending on how, I guess, big your imagination is, you can immerse yourself in really anything. It is cool. You really love balls, huh, Minecraft slime? Because I started putting his food in a rush, assuming that I wanted him to leave.
あ、いいの。葛西はのんびり食べてて。私がちょっと一人で散歩がしたいだけなの。
私もシオンさんと一緒に出ないと、この部屋に鍵がかけられません。
Kasai quickly put away his meal and followed me out.
先に断っとくけど、別にサトシ君に会いに行くわけじゃないからね。
わかりました。
I turned around and started walking. My destination was rather pathetic. It was a toy store that sold the giant teddy bear. I couldn't deny that I was somewhat expecting Satoshi-kun to pass by there. I couldn't stop myself from looking at the faces of the passerbys who assembled him. I looked up into the store's window. The teddy bear was gone.
サトシ君、おめでとう。変えたんだね。
His evil aunt had died and his wicked uncle was living with his mistress. Satoshi-kun succeeded in fulfilling his duty as a big brother by buying his little sister that huge teddy bear. There's nobody left to hurt him. He was free from his tiresome efforts. What is that, slime? Is that all my nicknames? He's completely free from pain. Over time, he'd retrieve a smile, and he'd go back to meet the Satoshi-kun I love. But I wouldn't be there with him. I heard a car honking. I didn't think it was honking at me at first, but it was so persistent that I had to look up. The person waving at me from their car was Irie. He was waving at me all carefree, oblivious to my feelings.
園崎さん、ご無沙汰していますね。あ、ひょっとして、サトシ君と待ち合わせでしたか？
いえ、そういうわけじゃないです。
そのおもちゃ屋さんのショーウィンドウは、サトシ君もよく覗いていましたからね。それでてっきり、サトシ君との待ち合わせか何かかなって思っちゃいまして。
いえ、たまたまここを通りかかっただけです。
Oh, you say you... Excuse me, you to this guy? Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
変えたみたいですね。サトシ君。
Irie seemed to know about the teddy bear as well. He smiled upon seeing its empty display space.
昨日が、サトコちゃんの誕生日でした。きっと、あのぬいぐるみで、それをお祝いできたと思います。
じゃあもう、サトシ君は、無茶なアルバイトに精を出さなくてもいいわけですね。
そうですね。
I can't... Wait, so... What did he say up earlier? The family wants you to forget about him.
サトシ君って、その、ひなみざわファイターズ、退部届とか出しちゃったんですか？
そんなもの出てたんですか？私は受け取ってませんよ。マネージャーの園崎さんは？
受け取ってないです。
誰も退部届を受け取ってないなら、まだうちの部員ってことですね。しばらくして生活が落ち着いたら、また戻ってきてくれるんじゃないかなって思ってます。でもその時に、園崎さんがいなかったら、きっと悲しむだろうな。
Irie teased me. He's a grown-up after all. He must have been trying to sound optimistic because he knew I was feeling a bit down.
園崎さんも、落ち着いたらいつでもチームに帰ってきてください。あなたがいないと、やっぱり寂しいですよ。園崎さんが帰ってきてくれたら、ぜひ女子マネージャーの制服をメイドさんな格好にしようと思ってまして。
Yeah, my eyes in that picture do look like balls. I burst into laughter. Irie sure hadn't changed.
あ、そうだ。もう名乗ってもいいんだった。 監督、今まで騙しててすみません。私、ミオンじゃないんです。シオンっていう双子の妹なんです。訳ありで、今までずっとミオンのふりしてきました。
双子の妹さんですか？
He was totally taken aback. I burst into
そうです。
laughter again.
園崎シオンと言います。園崎本家に嫌われてるんで、あまり堂々と暮らせる立場じゃないんですけどね。
知らなかったですよ。まさか、ミオンさんに双子の妹さんがいたなんて。
Oh,
そ
and
りゃ
there he
全
is.
く同感です。
Suddenly, a loud voice interrupted us. The voice sounded mean and greasy, unlike Irie's. It was him, Oishi.
入江先生もこんにちは。先日は遅くまでありがとうございました。
いえ、何もお役に立てま
Thanks
せん
for
ね。
ruining the mood again. Name a better combo than Oishi and ruining the mood. We were just going through the motions. It was obvious that they hated each other. Irie whispered to me.
私はもうここを離れますが、一緒に車に乗りますか？お家まで送りますよ。
Irie figured that Oishi was after me, so he was giving me a chance to slip away. Looking at Oishi's face, it was clear that his focus was on me, not Irie. He probably intended to interrogate me until my testimony broke. I was sure I could talk my way out of it, but it'd just be a
そう
waste
で
of
す
time.
ね。じゃあ監督、そろそろ行きましょうか。
ありゃ、お二人でどちらかにお出かけの途中でした
The
か。
more I think about Oishi, the more I like him. I mean, he's just a guy trying to do his job. He's trying to get to the truth. And, like, our main characters are a lot of times in the wrong, right? Like, it's just like a small town, and it's like they're all covering for each other. And Oishi's just trying to get to the truth. Like, I think some of his methods can be very bad at times, like when he's basically used Keiichi like every single time, but at the end of the day he just wants to reach the truth. So I can't really hate Oishi, but I can dislike him.
ええ、チームの夕涼み会用に景品を探しているところだったんです。他にも行くお店がたくさんありますので、この辺で私たちは失礼します。
Irie bowed. I followed suit. I had to admire how good he was at lying. He's a grown-up after all. Oishi seemed to know it was a lie, but he didn't have a warrant, so he couldn't stop us. I moved to get into Urie's car.
お怪我は大丈夫なんですか、園崎シオンさん。
I gasped when I heard that. My left hand was bandaged. It was unsightly, so I kept it in my pocket. There was no way Oishi could have been able to see it. What? No, she was taken to the hospital. He had to have seen her in the hospital. That's where it could have been.
可能さえしなきゃ綺麗に治りますよ。私も子供の頃は何度か爪を剥いじゃったことがありましたがね。
男の爪が綺麗でも気色悪いだけです。
Oishi scratched his head and chuckled. He's supposed to be one of the best cops at the Okinomiya PD, and he knows all about the underground activities in the region. Tuno is hiding that guy in his house. Which guy? This guy? Right here? He must have heard about my payment from somewhere. Still, that happened in the secret basement of the Sonozaki main house. I couldn't underestimate this guy's sources.
お見舞い。感謝感激です。
He's the fat old man. I don't think I'll be able to find him.
じゃあ、もう行きま
As
すね。
many people have put it. Oishi has the most beautiful nails. Shut up, Shion. So
失
true.
礼します。
I've been
園崎シ
thinking
オン
for a
さ
while.
ん。
Oh?
私とコーヒーでも飲みに行きません？
That I wanted to go to get like a manicure slash pedicure just to see what it's like. But it's like showing up alone seems very like, I don't know. I'm too anxious to go alone. So I just haven't done that.
はあ？何それ？私を口説いてんですか？
そういうことでもいいですよ。
遠慮します。
Don't? Why not?
一日は有限。にわざわざ退屈なことに費やすなんて馬鹿げてますから。
もう参ったな。じゃあこうしましょう。私とのおしゃべりが退屈になったらいつでも途中で帰っていいです。 引き止めません？そういう約束でどうです？
あんたが喋るのは勝手ですが、私は喋りませんよ。それをおしゃべりと呼べるかは怪しいですが。
ねえ、それで結構です。シオンさんは聞き役で結構です。私が勝手に一方的に喋るだけ。あなたはコーヒーでも飲みながら、中年親父の独り言を聞き流してくださればそれで結構です。
He was being strangely persistent. It didn't look like he was trying to poke a hole in my statement. What would he even talk about? I got a bit curious even though I was still skeptical.
監督、すみません。私、ちょっと大石のおじさまとデートに行こうと思います。
ミオ、じゃない。シオンさん？
I winked at him and told him not to worry. Idiot didn't insist. He got in his car and drove off. Oishi backed his car up so I could get in. I hopped in the back seats since I didn't want to sit next to him.
本当に喫茶店に行くの？
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, it was, like when I went on my cruise, for example, last year, I did my first massage there, and that was interesting. It's definitely something I would want to go back to as well. Like, I don't, but it's not something I could do, like, consistently, but it's definitely something I think I would be interested in to do again. It was just, like, I don't know, it was relaxing. Sorry, it wasn't relaxing. Mine wasn't relaxing. It was slightly painful, actually. But I don't mind, like, the entire time the masseuse was so worried. She's like, I don't want this to ruin your massage experience. I'm like, no, honestly, like, you feel very loose afterwards. And I kind of like that. Free lobotomy. I don't think I'd want to try that one, because I think you can really only try that one once, and then it's like, your life is kind of altered.
あなたの親類の目がない喫茶店があるなら、紹介してもらえると助かるんですがね。
それなら勝手に連行でも何でもすればいい。
Oishi carefully checked for oncoming traffic, then started driving. Oishi told me to the police station, as I thought he might. If he had taken me to a nice cafe, he would have scored some points, but whatever.
書の方が都合がいいと思ったから書にしただけです。私の話が退屈になったら帰っていいという約束は、もちろん守りますから安心してください。
私を退屈させないように頑張ってくださいな。署内には腕組んで入ってあげましょうか、おじさま。
Oishi chuckled and got out of the car. He escorted me inside the station. I thought he'd take me to an interrogation room, but instead he took me to an office of the interrogation division. Officers in both suits and uniforms were working at their desks, answering phones. There was a desk with a plate that said Section Manager, and nearby there were couches and a table. Oishi told me to sit on the couch, and he started making some instant coffee. I'd never been to this part of the police station. I looked around in curiosity.
まさか、取調室でカツ丼でも食わされると思いました？
Oishi brought over a tray with coffee cups
想
on
像
it.
してたより待遇が良くて驚いてます。三角木馬くらいは覚悟してたのに。
そういうのは私の趣味じゃないな。
Thank you, Oishi.
で、
Oishi giving a drink, the classic. Does he always give drinks?
おしゃべりを聞かせてくれるんじゃなかったでしたっけ？
So
じ
yeah,
ゃあ、
so
最
right now
初からいきなり担当直入。
she's trying to talk. Like, I'm guessing that maybe he wants to talk about Satoshi, right? Because they were saying that he disappeared on Satsuko's birthday, right? So it's the day after her birthday. So he probably disappeared.
シオンさんって北条聡さんのこと
Every
を
single
好
time
き？
he's interrogated someone, he's gives them a drink. Is that true? I don't remember.
はぁ？速攻退屈なんで即帰りますよ。
じゃあ今のはなしということで。
Honestly, that makes sense. I've seen people do that strategy before. Where they've done like operations where they like they take like I heard of an operation where they took like a water bottle, right? They set up this entire like thing. The person took a water bottle and then drank from it and then threw it away, and then they just use that for DNA. Okay. Well, what do you want me to do? It's my stream. I have to talk. Keiichi with the coffee and interrogate him in the car for... Oh, yeah, okay, true. Well, she must have known why I had to remove my fingernails. He wasn't trying to confirm that I like Satoshi-kun. What he's really saying was that he knew
サ
already.
トシ君の事件当日のアリバイなら、先日熊谷刑事さんに全部お話ししたつもりです。
It's my stream right now. Okay, Minecraft Slime, what do you want to talk about?
もちろん、私も熊谷君の調書は読んでます。
Of course. How could I have not guessed that?
あなたがサトシ君と一緒にいたことは知ってます。
何度聞かれたって同じ話しかしませんよ。
Yeah, I really should have known. I really should have.
しつこく反復して聞いたら、そのうちにボロを出すとか考えてるなら、大甘もいいとこです。
まさか、そんなこと考えてません。あなたは頭のいい人です。そんな手に引っかかるなんて思っちゃいま
Yeah,
せ
I
ん。
really did. Yeah, I really did. Walk into that one, Ruben.
ならどういう手を考えてるやら。どちらにせよ、私からサトシ君のことを何か聞き出そうとしても、それは無駄なことです。先日お話しした以上のことは何もありません。
Mother Tuno, if that's what we're calling my mom.
ああ、残念。やっぱり退屈な話でしたね。私、帰らせてもらいます。そういう約束でしたからね。失礼します。
I got off the couch.
シオンさん、確かに私はあなたからサトシさんのアリバイを聞こうと思っていました。それは認めますよ。
なら決まりです。やっぱり退屈でした。帰ります。
I turned around and started walking. Oishi didn't get anxious, but instead spoke a little louder.
でもね、シオンさん。私が聞きたいのはサトシさんの事件当日のアリバイじゃない。昨日のアリバイなんです。
昨日？なんで昨日のアリバイなんかが聞かれるんですか？昨日のサトシ君のアリバイが、おばさんが殺された事件とどう関係があるってんです？
昨日、サトシ君が出かけたまま失踪されたからです。
What?
サトシ君が失踪されたことは、ご存知なかった？
I couldn't say anything, but my expression answered Oishi's question
どうい
anyway.
うことですか？失踪って、何？
やっぱり、座ったらどうです？
サトシ君が失踪したって。
Oh, bullshit, Tuno.
一つ、確実に分かっていることは、彼が3時前に沖宮の郵便局で
Wait, so
貯
how
金を
many
全
days
額
is
下
this
ろしてい
after
るという
her?
こと
Because
だ
I
けで
thought
す。
this was... So I thought the timeline was... Yesterday, they got taken to the police station. In the night, she got taken out. Taken to the, She, like, yeah. Like, I don't... Like, she got taken to the household. Then they... Like, she did the thing, like, with her nails. And then she went home, and this is the next day. I don't understand. When... Like, what do you mean Satoshi went missing? Didn't she get taken at the same time with Satoshi?
その後の足取りはつかめません。
I don't know. I knew why he withdrew that money. He wanted to buy Satoko's birthday present. Yes, he definitely bought that teddy bear yesterday.
これは私の想像ですよ。彼はひょっとして、そのお金でどっか遠くに蒸発したんじゃないかな。
逃走資金だってんですか？バッカバカしい。あのお金はね、サトコの誕生日プレゼントを買うためにサトシ君が貯めていたんです。それで、あのおもちゃ屋にあったでかくて高いぬいぐるみを買ったんです。逃走に使うお金になんかなるわけないです。
確かにあのおもちゃ屋から一番高いぬいぐるみが売れていました。でもね、それをサトシ君が買った確証が取れないんです。
店の人に聞けばそんなのわかりますって。私とサトシ君で買う予約までしてるんですから。
I had a bad feeling that the old man who was watching the store that was sleeping when we were there. He looked very senile. Maybe he was also watching that store on that day, and even though Satoshi-kun bought the teddy bear, he didn't remember. Or she put on a wry smile. It looked like he already tried to question that old man.
とにかく、あれを買ったのはサトシ君なんです。サトシ君は、ぬいぐるみの金額ギリギリしかお金がなかったはずだから、ぬいぐるみ代を支払って、さらに逃亡資金を用意できたなんて思えません。
And ball wings. What are ball
め
wings?
ちゃめちゃもいいとこです。
Boneless
い
wings
い
made
で
into
す
a
よ
ball?
じゃあサトシ君がぬいぐるみを買ったことでもいいです。じゃあ、そのぬいぐるみを持ってどうして帰らなかったんですか？
At that point, I felt as though my heart had turned to ice. Satoshi-kun had been working hard to buy that teddy bear, even though he was under extreme mental and physical stress. After all that, he finally managed to buy it. It's unthinkable that somebody else just showed up and bought the same teddy bear. That teddy bear is gone because Satoshi-kun bought it. Nobody else. But if so, Satoshi-kun should have given it to Satoko. Unless, when he bought it and was on the way back, he got taken. Kidnapped. Demoned away. However you want to call it. But though he bought a present for her, he didn't come home. He didn't come home. That wasn't possible. He would have gone straight home with that teddy bear. He wouldn't think of running away after buying the teddy bear. Even though Satoshi-kun wanted to run away from the police, he'd never leave without giving Satoko her present. Anyway, it must have been Satoshi-kun who bought that teddy bear. I can say that with 100% certainty. The question was, why didn't he bring it home? That teddy bear is huge. It wouldn't fit into the basket of a bicycle. He must have brought some straps to tie his bike. He wouldn't have thought of running away on a wobbly bicycle like that. He necessarily had to go home after buying the teddy bear from the store after withdrawing the money. Nothing could have happened when he was going between the ATM and the toy store. It was impossible. Nobody else could have possibly bought that teddy bear. Never. That teddy bear had been sitting in the showcase up until that day. Everybody could see it when they passed by, but nobody wanted it. It's impossible that it could have been somebody else. There should be no question that he went to the toy store after he withdrew the money. What about the route between the toy store and his home? There shouldn't be any question there either. He shouldn't have been able to do anything with that huge toy. He should not even thought of making a stop on the way. So he must have headed home right after he bought the teddy bear. But nobody saw him after that. It was simple then. Satoshi-kun went missing on his way home from the toy store. He went missing? What did that mean? I was sure he killed his aunt. He's not that shrewd. Maybe he couldn't bear the pressure from the police? Was he resigned to the idea the police was going to arrest him soon regardless of my help? Did he decide to run away? Did he think that he should disappear until things cooled down rather than get arrested? That was definitely, absolutely impossible. It was impossible that he came to that conclusion on his way home from the toy store. Even if he did, he would have waited until he gave Satoko her birthday present. Satoshi-kun loved Satoko. He shouldn't have spoiled her like that, but anyway, he always tried to be a good brother to her, so he'd never disappear before going home. I felt as though the ice was cutting through my heart, expanding in the frost. If Satoshi-kun didn't disappear by his own will, the answer was simple. Satoshi-kun disappeared by somebody else's will.
サトシ君が消された。バカバカしいです。やっぱり退屈な話ですよ、おじさま。
I thought I could shake off the frost in my heart if I laughed loudly enough. I kept laughing until it happened. I kept laughing and laughing. All the cops in the room stared at me. They thought I'd gone crazy. I didn't care what they thought. I just kept laughing until it turned to a cough. Mrs. Tuno and Mr. Tuno. Yes, that is how you should address me. Look at how classy I look. I finished laughing and took a sip of lukewarm coffee. I felt as though the frost in my heart had spread throughout my guts. I was chilled to the bone. I was freezing. My fingers shook as I held the cup of coffee.
シオンさん、ちょっと口を挟まずに聞いててほしいんです。これから私がちょいと想像した話を申し上げます。全部でっち上げです。だからきっとシオンさんはあまりのいい加減な内容に吹き出しちゃいそうになるかもしれません。それでも最後まで黙って聞いていてほしいんです。約束してもらえます？
いや、約束なんて何でもするから。早く言いなさいよ。
I was feeling far too cold. My teeth were chattering. Also, my brain had frozen as well. I lost my ability to think. Once we reach to the end of this section, I guess we'll see how much time there is left, and then we'll see if we end stream. Pleco. What is it? Pleco Tuno? Is that what you wrote? What even is that? Couldn't do anything by myself. I could only do as Oishi told me. While he was going to tell me, might be the worst possible theory. But I had to listen to it.
死んだおばがサトシ君とサトコさんをいじめていたことはよーく聞いています。中でもサトコさんを執拗にいじめていたこともね。その中でサトシ君が妹をかばうためにおばに殺意を募らせていったとしても、私は人として自然な流れだと思います。
I had to deny that Satoshi-kun murdered her. What Oishi was saying was true. I couldn't deny his hypothesis right away. I kept silent.
ここからは空想ですよ。絶対に怒らないでください。口を挟むのもなし。いいですね。
わかってるから早く続けなさいよ。
北条聡はおば殺しを計画し実行した。ねえ、もちろん証拠なんてありませんよ。全部私の妄想です。
わかってるって。あんたの妄想なのは100も承知だから早く続けて。
What is this music playing? What is it? Okay?
ここで話は変わります。シオンさん、あなたはサトシ君との交際を禁じられたんですよね。もう忘れろ。二度と関わるなと念をされたんですよね。
Dude, why is this music so freaky?
それは実は不仲な両家の関係を意味嫌ったからでなく、殺人犯と園崎家の令嬢が恋仲であることに問題があったんじゃないかと思ったんです。
That is actually possible. After all, when I was pretending to be Mion, I already had a connection with Satoshi-kun. Before anyone knew it was Shion who was spending time around him. I could have been accused when I was helping out the Hinamizawa fighters if the relationship between the Hojos and the Sonozakis was the problem. It wouldn't be difficult for the Sonozaki family to know that Satoshi-kun murdered his aunt if it happened at Hinamizawa. Maybe one of them even saw the murder. The Sonozaki family didn't like that I was in love with the murderer. They decided to step in.
あと、あなた、諦めが悪いことでも知られてるんじゃないですか。つまり、園崎本家にサトシ君との縁を切れと脅されて、爪を剥がされても、
Potato, I like that one. Potato.
サトシ君との縁を切りかねていましたよね。
I couldn't deny that. I lost most of my means to access Hinamizawa, so my ties to Satoshi-kun were essentially cut. True. But I still knew Satoshi-kun's phone number, and I expected him to rejoin the Hinamizawa fighters eventually.
園崎本家はサトシ君とあなたの縁はちょっと脅しただけじゃ絶対に切れないと分かっていたと思います。あなたをいくら脅してもどうにもならない。じゃあもう一人の方をどうにかするしかないですよね。
どうにかって何？どうにかって何よ？何？
Threatening me was useless then. They do something about Satoshi-kun. What would they have done? They pulled something. They wouldn't interrupt his path from the toy store to home. Toy store to home. Toy store to X. To home. It's X. What is X? X marks the spot where his path was interrupted. But what interrupted it? Why couldn't Satoshi-kun make it home from the toy store if something interrupted him? Why? Why? What's X? X! I ran out of air, became dizzy, and then collapsed. The floor felt cold. I felt no pain. I'd fallen to the floor like a plastic doll. Higurashi and some others rushed over to me and helped me up.
落ち着いてシオンさん。サトシ君が殺されたとはまだ限りません。
You're not certain he was killed? The fuck are you talking about? Don't you know about that torture where they forced me to rip off my fingernails? Don't you know they say there are prison cells and a well for disposing corpses? Oh, wow, that's true. That's right. The Sonozaki family wants to eliminate someone. They definitely kill them in that torture room and dump the body down there. You're not certain? Are you dumb? Is your brain made of tofu? If I were in his hag's position, I'd kill him for sure. I wouldn't let him get away. I would kill him. The hag would definitely kill him.
シオンさん、落ち着いて。これはまだ未確認情報ですが、名古屋駅で家出人風の若者を見たという情報が入っています。東京行きの新幹線に乗ったそうです。服装の特徴などが一致しませんでしたが、警察の追跡等を意識して衣替えをしている可能性もあります。服装が違うからサトシ君でないとは言い切れませんよ。
生きてるの？サトシ君。
ここからもまた私の想像になりますがね。あなたの双子のお姉さんのミヨンさん、次期当主ということで、園崎お涼の身近にいますよね。園崎お涼は、おそらく最初は、サトシ君をこっそり殺してしまおうと提案したと思います。それを、あなたのお姉さんが止めたんじゃないかと思うんです。
Mion? That was possible. She could have tried to calm things down out of pity for me. That idiot was always so indecisive. She should have been clear if she wanted to save him or not. But she probably seemed vague about that. She must have persuaded the hag to reduce the punishment to banishment instead of death, just to avoid feeling guilty.
おそらく、園崎本家はサトシ君と接触したでしょう。今回の事件はかばいきれない。だから、自分の身は自分で守るために、どこかへ姿を隠せと忠告したはずです。 いや、強要したと言った方が似合うでしょうね。
サトシ君は絶対拒否すると思います。だってあのサトシ君が妹を一人残してひなみ沢を離れられるわけがない。
Copper? What is copper? Why are we talking about
私も
crushing
そう思い
balls
ます
as well now?
確か、サトシ君は園崎美音さんの紹介でバイトをしてましたよね。だから、サトシ君に逃走資金になるまとまったお金があることを知っていたと思います。
でもサトシ君はそのお金をぬいぐるみを買う以外には絶対に使わないはずです。
でしょうね。サトシ君は貯金を下ろしたら迷うことなくおもちゃ屋に向かうでしょう。でも、サトシ君がおもちゃ屋にたどり着くと、もうぬいぐるみが売れてしまっていて、
That would have
な
been
くなっていたら。
a very desolate situation. Can you give me channel points, please? I don't think I can give channel points. I don't think there's a way to do that. He'd been working hard. While his aunt abused him, he worked at many different jobs. The money was worth all that pain. He went to the toy store with that money in order to buy his beloved sister a present. That was the only purpose for that money. He must have looked for the teddy bear as he always done. But it was gone. He wouldn't have gone into a panic right away. What do you want channel points for, though? Because he was always so optimistic. He might have thought the store was wrapping the gift for him because he told them that he'd pick it up that day. He must have gone into the store joyously. I couldn't guess exactly what happened next. My heart would tear up if I tried to imagine it anyway. Why didn't they have it, even though he had reserved it? Did the old man understand the situation, or was he just zoning out? Maybe it would have been the same, even if it wasn't the old man who was at the store that time. A bunch of fierce-looking subordinates from the Sonozaki family went in and showed them the money nobody could have rejected. Satoshi-kun must have sunk into silence. No matter how hard he complained, the teddy bear was gone. He probably never even considered that his dream might be taken away. He must have been wobbling his way home in sorrow, leaning on the telephone poles every now and then. It was the day he wanted Satoko to be happy the most. He couldn't get the present she wanted the most. He probably didn't even think of getting another gift, because it was unimaginable that he couldn't get that teddy bear. He might have imagined how Satoko would react when she found out he had no present for her. He must have looked unbelievably sad and empty. But I still remember Mion freaking out in chapter 2, was it? Yeah, in chapter 2. Mion freaking out then and was like, Satoshi was taken away from Satoko. So it doesn't seem like they had a part to play in it though, right? Money he'd been saving meant nothing anymore. Satoshi-kun never cried, even at his toughest moments. Did he even know how to cry? What do you mean? I stole the teddy bear. Okay, I have no desire to use the teddy bear for any reason. There's always Satoko who was crying. So Satoshi-kun never learned to cry, and he grew up that way. Did you know? People shed sadness from their heart with tears. Satoshi-kun wasn't even allowed to do that, even though his heart was filled with sorrow. He couldn't let it out.
妹を一人残してひなみ沢を離れられないと言いましたね。でももしも、園崎本家が残った聡子さんの面倒は見るって言ってあったとしたらどう思います？
After Satoshi-kun found out the teddy bear was gone, all he had left were some crumpled bills. The family told him it was just a matter of time before police got to him, and they told him to run away. They said they'd take care of Satoko. Satoshi-kun didn't feel like seeing his sister. He wandered and found himself at Okinomiya Station. He must have been apologizing to Satoko so many times in his mind. He swore to come back someday. Yet it's in Nagoya. Then to Tokyo. But that meant he's alive. He's alive. I should be able to see him again someday. He must be coming back, so I'll definitely see him again.
そうして、ずっと遠方に隠れ家か、受け入れ先を用意してくれたんじゃないかと思います。
Because one, they said they found the culprit of who committed the murder on his aunt, right? Unless that was also a cover-up by the Sonozakis. And two, we heard Satoshi's voice when Keiichi was like, took the bat and killed the uncle.
サトシ君はそこを目指したのでしょう。
じゃあ、無事なんだ。いつか帰ってくるんですよね。
Or she looked up at the ceiling and stretched. He didn't answer me. On June 24th, 1982, Satoshi Hojo went missing. There is a possibility that he ran away as he was the prime suspect of the murder that happened on the 20th of the same month. Allegedly, someone resembling him was seen at Nagoya Station, embarking on a train heading to Tokyo. But the truth is unknown. No one has seen him since. As a matter of fact, no one even knows if he's still alive. And that's where that ends. Ooh! Notebook page 34 and page 42. Had a dear friend go missing, train to nowhere. The information that Satoshi-kun might have headed to Tokyo hasn't been verified. It started as follows. A young man came to the lost and found window looking for his wallet. The station employee asked him to write down his name on the form. The young man started writing Hojo as his name, but he stopped in the middle, crumpled the form, and wrote a totally different name on another form. Another station employee witnessed a similar-looking man rushing to the train heading to Tokyo. The employee from the Lost and Found and the employee who was on the platform talked about the suspicious young man in the locker room. That was all. The wallet of the man named Hojo was never reported as found to the Lost and Found office. Why are you giving me meanings of random sayings that, like, things that are close? The wallet of the man named yeah. That's it? Okay. At first, I thought Oishi's theory that the Sonozaki family banished Satoshi-kun from Hinamizawa, looked after Satoko in return, was bogus. But thinking about it now, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. After all, Satoko Hojo started living with Rika Furude after Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Rika Furude isn't just a regular girl. She was the head of the Furude family. One of the three families. The head of the Kimiyoshi family is Rika Furude's guardian. The Sonozaki family probably couldn't step in due to having been officially opposed to the Hojo family. But Satoko Hojo is custody of the three families now. Even though the Hojo family was severely ostracized during the dam conflict, Satoko Hojo was now under protection. It seemed as though only Satoko was exempted from the blame. Why was she spared even though Satoshi-kun wasn't? Okay. Hyacinthine of a blue or purple color. Why are you giving me colors now? Okay. I think I will be heading out for now then, though. This seems like a good spot for me to end for today. We only did one, but it seems from here it's going to start to have longer... What is that? Yeah, I will be... Yeah, it was what was I saying? Super Balls Man. Yes, that's me, I guess. What was I saying? Oh yeah, that's a good spot to end here. We did a good bit. Starting from tomorrow though, I think it's going to be longer chapters, so we'll see from there how it goes. I know it's ending a bit early today, but I felt like this was a good place to end off since it seems like it's going to be improving, or going to be, yeah, just a lot more happening. Lucius, Burke, Ignacio, Roth, Myra, Stout, Coy, Boyd, Priscilla, Choi. What is that? Those characters from something? Myra, Stout, yeah, I don't know any... They don't stand out to me. Why are we getting Bible passages now? Okay, but yeah. that'll be it from me then for today. Thank you for everyone who stopped by the stream. I appreciate it. And I will be back with more Higurashi When They Cry tomorrow. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.